Alright, today I'm comparing the Ibanez RG5121 Prestige with the Ibanez S671ALB Axion Label. I have individual reviews of these guitars on my channel, but today I want to do a kind of unscientific comparison just for fun. These guitars both have fixed bridges, the Gibraltar Standard 2, and they both have the Fishman Fluence Moderns. The setups are about the same, and the strings are of about the same age. I'm going to compare the sound of these two guitars, clean and distorted, both voice 1 and 2. I'm going to talk about the playing feel of each, and whether each one is worth it. And by the way, I'm not sponsored by Ibanez or any of the other brands shown or talked about. So let's hear how these guitars sound. Alright, very interesting, pretty close. Now, I want to say, starting with the cleans, maybe they sound a bit fuller to me a little bit on the RG5121. I want to say both, I didn't think there would be this big of a difference, but at the same time, there isn't too much of a difference. I think if you were playing one or the other, either live or on your recorded song, no one would throw a fit. No one would say, oh, you should have used the other one. And then moving on to the lead sound, the distorted leads, I listened really hard a bunch of times and I couldn't really hear too much of a difference. The times I did, it just seemed like placebo effect. And when I'd listen back again, the difference was gone. And so the distorted rhythm tones were pretty much identical too, except I did hear a little bit of a difference. Something about the Prestige I liked the sound of just a little bit more. Was it fuller? Was it a bit less shrill? Have I just listened to these 50,000 times and I'm going crazy? Did you hear a difference? Comment down below. Either way, if there was a difference, it isn't anything a little bit of EQ can't iron out. Alright, let's talk about the playing feel. I'm a pretty big fan of the flatter fretboard radius guitars, but as I'm getting older, as my fingers get tired from work, as I have more inflammation these days, I find I'm starting to prefer the slightly rounder fretboards a bit more. Some days I can even go down to about a 12-inch fretboard radius. And of course, to each their own. I'm not saying the super round radii, like the 9.5, the 7.25. I'm not saying those are bad. These guitars are tools to make music, and so whatever suits you, whatever fits you best is what you should use. So for this playing session, I was finding that the S was a bit more comfortable for me. But every other day of the week, the Prestige I'd be able to play better on. And this is from past experience with these two guitars. I can say that the RG is better balanced. This S, it doesn't horribly neck dive or anything, but I find these S guitars, when they don't have a trem, they are slightly neck heavy. And the RG was balancing just fine. That being said, the S isn't horribly balanced, and once you get used to just a little bit of neck heaviness, it's perfectly fine. Especially if you keep your arm on the body right here, it doesn't move at all. And the S being lighter is very nice over time if you have the guitar hanging off your body for a long set, for a long live stream and you're standing up, things like that, pretty fine. Although if you're playing sitting down, I do prefer the RG if you sit in the kind of classic position like this, the classical style. Sitting more standard, it really doesn't matter too much which one you're using. Over time, I have become more used to the RG style of body, the kind of flat top with the forearm carve right here. The arch top though on the S is pretty cool, but if I was gonna get an Ibanez guitar with that kind of arch, I'd go for an RGA. But RGA or S, the kind of arch top does make the bridge more accessible, so palm muting is super luxurious to do. Obviously you can palm mute on the RG, we're just splitting hairs here. But maybe it does make a difference if you're used to that flat body with a lower down bridge, especially if it has a recessed trem bridge. Alright, so overall thoughts, is the Prestige worth the higher price? And it's hard to justify. The Prestige, you could say, is the objectively better instrument. The neck is more solid. I've noticed it doesn't react as much to temperature and humidity differences as opposed to the neck here on the S671. The RG has the Prestige neck profile and whatever coating they put on it to make it feel played in. The bodywood feels like it's more dense. Nothing has come loose. I haven't had to tighten anything. In general, it feels like a more solid instrument, although I can't say I haven't had any Prestiges fail me in the past. I've had wiring issues with some of them. So is the Prestige that much better to justify the price difference? Well, in this case, this was a used demo model, so it was at a pretty good price. It was already set up pretty well. There's only light playing wear on it. So it was really easy to set this up how I liked it, to put it in the tuning I wanted. I've even recently used it in my cover of Dr. Wily's Castle from Mega Man 2. So if you want to hear this guitar in action, you can check out the video for that. The song's available on all streaming services. And my friend Consolis played a really cool guest solo on that. So check it out. Shameless plug. So in contrast though, if you're making a decision between a Prestige and something more budget friendly, you could say that you'd want to go for something even more budget friendly. Because this guitar here, the 671, it's a formidable guitar and it isn't cheap. There are plenty of more budget-minded Ibanez guitars. If you're looking at Ibanez, there's S's, RGs, RGAs. You could get a S521, for example, if you don't mind the different pickups and the different bridge. If you wanted a trem, you can get an S670 or an S770. The latter has DiMarzio pickups. The fit and finish on something more budget-friendly, though, might not be as good as one of these guitars, though. It might not be as easily playable, it might not be as stable, so those are things to think about. It comes down to how much you're willing to compromise on budget spent versus playability and quality, and these are of course generalizations. There are plenty of expensive guitars that don't play that well, and there are plenty of budget-friendly guitars that play amazing. So you have to ask yourself, do you need these just premium third-party pickups? The Fishmans. After all, the audience most likely isn't going to care which guitar you're playing and which pickups are in it. So I think these guitars are both pretty great, but if I had to pick just one, if you can get a good deal on the Prestige, absolutely go for it. But if you like the S body and you want to save some money, the S671 is a good choice too. It gets the job done. But what are your thoughts? Would you rather have the Prestige quality and playability? Or would you save some money for other things, like gas money to get to the gig, money for software plugins, etc.? Comment down below, and come join the Discord to continue the discussion. We have a lot of fun talking about guitar stuff there, music stuff, etc. And this is YouTube, so I have to say the YouTube things. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video, print out every frame and mail it. If you're looking for something cool to listen to, you can stream my music on all major streaming services. I do some original songs and a lot of video game metal. And hey, as always, peace.